did a video a few minutes ago on how to make your own pickling spice. This is one of the prime ingredients in a corned beef brine. This is homemade pickling spice. Ricky, what'd you say it looked like? Ricky said it looks like the mud mask that Lantha and Ava use on their faces and that they have to wash off. He's not going to tell that. So in this part of it, we're using 3 tablespoons of our homemade pickling spice. We're going to put a lid on it and save the rest of it for next week, so when we actually cook it, we're going to use a little more pickling spice in the braising liquid after it's done. This, rest of the ingredients for the brine. 2 cups of kosher salt. I know that seems like a ton, but remember you're curing this piece of meat. About a cup of brown sugar, 6 garlic cloves, pretty big ones. Pink salt, not to be confused with Himalayan salt. 2 very different things. Himalayan salt, of course, is pink colored because of the mineral content, and it comes from the Himalayan mountains. Pink curing salt, however, is sodium nitrite, which is a chemical that gives the corned beef its finished color, that pink color. Now, typically, sodium nitrite can be a little hard to find. The U.S. military used it for years. They gave it to the soldiers because it helped reduce ardor. I guess the only way I can think to say that. That's never been scientifically proven. It's not a typical ingredient. I ordered it from the big box store. Feel free to do without. It really doesn't do all that much for the taste. However, if you want it to look like a traditional, pretty, beautiful pink corned beef, you want to throw it in there. You only use about 2 tablespoons for the whole batch, so no big deal. So here's our corned beef brine, right there. And at this point, we just come into the brine with the meat. And if you don't have quite enough room, oh, looky there, I just about did it. I'm going to add another cup of water. Wait a minute. And I'm also going to, hang on just a second, because this is where I'm tricky. If it won't quite stay submerged on its own, which it won't, it'll pop up and want to float. Here's what you can do. Is this going to fit? No, of course not. Take a dish, put another dish in it, set it right on top. You can add whatever you want to this top part to keep the corned beef submerged. One of the things I think is easiest is just a can of whatever right on top. So that's your setup, and I'm going to add a little tiny bit more water. That's your setup. This needs to go in the refrigerator. Of course, put a lid on it. This goes in the refrigerator for about 5 days. And like I said, I've seen recipes that call for just a couple of days, and I've seen it where it goes for 2 full weeks. And in the Middle Ages, this was a method for keeping beef all winter long. So, you know, that's on you, not me. I don't think we really want to go back to eating like they did in the 12th century. Now, corning, as in corned beef, doesn't have anything to do with corn. The word originally was from kernel, and it's because the spices that were used were shaped like kernels. See? All right, that's how you make your own homemade corned beef. I'm going to stash this in the fridge, and then next weekend, right before St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to show you all how to braise it off, and it'll be the best thing you've ever had in your life. Try that again. It's St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to go ahead and finish off the homemade corned beef that we started last week. So come back in a second, and I'll show you how we're going to do it.
Sure.
You tell me when we're ready to go.
We have been ready to go.
Okay, we have been ready to go. That's a good thing. All right, come in here and take a look at this. We did homemade corned beef, and we brined it off last week. And I actually had this covered up in the fridge with this can sitting on this stuff to keep the corned beef below the brine, right? So this can go back in the cupboard. Ta-da! And then this stuff obviously needs a bath now. But our corned beef is ready to go. I did a video and I showed you how to make your own pickling spice, and then I did another one and I showed you how to make the brine. But if you're starting with store-bought corned beef, I can't get my tongs. If you're starting with store-bought corned beef, this is where you're going to pick up and join in with us, because this is what you're going to have. This is our brisket. Try not to get my hands on it, but this thing is huge. So this is our brisket that's been in the brine for Originally, I thought it was going to be 5 days, and life happened, and so we're at 7 days with the brisket in the brine. And you can go up to 10. Now, the theory is I'm going to get all of this brisket in this crock pot. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we're gonna make the attempt. So you can rinse this off if you want to. I happen to like the stronger flavor. So we do want to knock all these spices off. These are actually the kernels or the corns from where corned beef got its name. These are peppercorns and bay leaf. Ha, look at that, Chase. Ye of little faith. I got all of that in there. Ha. So that's a big one. Most of the time, I'd say if you buy a brisket at the store, it's going to be about half that size. I bought a case of brisket last week because I wanted to do several different videos, and every single one of them is huge. They're like 10 pounds each. So we have a lot of corned beef. So crock pot. You can also use a Dutch oven and put it in a low oven, so 225, 250 degrees. Chase, you seem very amused. Why are you?
Explain the Dutch oven to me.
Okay. All right. You know the great big heavy cast iron pot that you take out of my kitchen and I can never find because you took it to give water to your dog.
Yeah.
That is a Dutch oven. It's a large, heavy, almost always cast iron. Sometimes they're enamel, so you'll have lots of bright, pretty colors. I would show you one.
I was thinking it was more when you farted and put the blankets over someone. Don't lose it, we're recording. Keep going, keep going. You can cut it out.
I'm flabbergasted. Thank you, Chase.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Well,
they know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure you have participated in that event. Okay, all right. So use a Dutch oven. Use a crock pot. One of these days, I'll tell the story of what happens if you are preparing a list to go to the warehouse club, and you have your phone, and you put your order in, and then you just drive and pick it up, right? Don't ever, ever, ever hand the phone to your teenagers and say, hey guys, put anything you want for the next week on the list and I'll go and pick it up in the morning. Because other than some really inappropriate items that are greeting you when you pick up your order, you'll find things like 12 pounds of Nutella.
That was Lance.
I know who it was. Okay. I know who did every single item on that list. Including the stuff that I had to put back and really embarrassed the young man that was trying to help me. All right, this is our homemade pickling spice. See? Ta-da! Mm-hmm. Ricky said it looks like the mud mask that Lance and Ava use.
It does. It looks pretty nasty.
It doesn't look nasty. It's spices. Chase. At the moment, you're not my favorite.
At least they're going in the food.
All right. So this is a 1/4 cup measure. That's about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons. These are large pieces, so they don't pack tightly, and I like a lot of flavor in here. So I put in about the equivalent of 2.5 to 3 tablespoons, and I just went right over the top of the corned beef, and I stuck a big white onion in there. Boom. That's all you have to do. All we're going to do at this point is cover it up with some water, and I'm going to stick it in the base of the crock pot back here, and I'm going to put it on 4 hours. Okay, so we're just filling it with water in the crock pot or in your Dutch oven and in a 225 degree oven. Either way, you're going to get for 4 hours. And that's all you do at this point. Now, if you're wanting to make traditional American corned beef and cabbage, which has really not all that much to do with Ireland, it's an Irish American thing or a Jewish American thing. If you're wanting to do that for St. Patrick's Day, come back in about 3 minutes video time or about 4 hours in real time, and I'll show you how to finish off that traditional dish. In the meantime, I'm going to deal with my dog who's down here talking. I'm going to deal with my vacuum, my robot vacuum. Do not shoot the vacuum. My robot vacuum is over there. It's kind of stuck in the corner because my cat won't leave it alone. Baby chased it into the corner. And I'm going to stick this in and check out the next couple of videos because I'm going to show you how to make homemade Irish cream. So if you want homemade Baileys, I'm going to show you how to do it. And then we're going to make a Guinness chocolate car bomb cake. So we got all kinds of stuff going on this afternoon. Stick with us. Our corned beef had actually about 5 hours by the time it was all said and done because we had life. That's why.
Which is okay.
It's okay. It happened. So it had about 5 hours. Now, half of the most wonderful thing about corned beef is this incredible cooking liquid, because that is what you cook your veggies in, and then your potatoes taste like corned beef, which is phenomenal. So my crock pot was overloaded, so I took half of the corned beef out. I'm going to show you that in just a second.
And that was also great.
Yes, and so our vegetables are just going to go in here. And I've got carrots. I had 3 really big carrots. I had, I don't know, 1 big and 2 weird sized potatoes. So 2 large, or something like that. And I'm still going to overflow my crock pot. So I may start some of these in a second container and throw them in the oven. But I'll put the base of it together so you can see what that looks like.
Good.
And I'm just tucking the cabbage on top. We're going to give this about an hour and a half to finish cooking, just so that our vegetables get tender.
The longest hour and a half of my life.
I know I'm going to have to save this other one so Brent doesn't get it. I've got so much in here, I'm not going to be able to get the lid on. Hang on a second. A little bit more.
You can't get the lid on, but just a little bit more.
So half of my cooking is go to you got too much and then add some. That's how you do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm going to put
sorry.
these veggies in a second container. I'm going to add some of the cooking liquid from the crock pot, and so they'll do their thing and they'll still get the flavor. So our corned beef is actually ready. You could eat it now.
And it is great now.
Well, here's the thing. If we do the corned beef now, it will taste fabulous, and we will be able to slice it. If you let it keep going in that braising liquid, it will get to the point where it's just falling apart tender. So it's your preference. It's what you like. It's cooked through at this point, and it tastes great. So it's just how you like to serve it. Oh, look at that.
Oh my God.
So the grain, you kind of want to go.
I'm really sorry.
You're really sorry. I can tell. Look at that color. So this, if you want to do corned beef slices. I'm so proud of that.
Me too.
It probably does need a little bit of time. This one needs a little more time just to get a little bit more tender. And actually, I was doing this wrong. When you're slicing, meat like this, you see how the grain runs this way? It's more tender. Brent, check this out. So you took a bite of this part that I actually cut wrong. But if you come down this way, try that bite. If you go against the grain, try that bite.
I'll try any bite.
I'm going to take part of it. It's much more tender.
Yeah.
It's easier to cut, easier to slice, easier to eat. So, I'm putting this in here. I'm going to throw this in the oven. 225 degrees. I'm going to cover it with foil. This is the other half. That's the only difference. I'm going to add some braising liquid. And we'll be back when those vegetables are tender and ready to go.
Awesome.
Yeah. 3, 2. Alright, I'm being stalked. Actually, the corned beef is being stalked. It's got to be one of those things where every 5 minutes, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet?
I mean,
it's ready.
Can't help it.
How about that?
Look at this beauty.
Alright, the one in the crock pot is actually going to take a little bit longer. That's fine.
Oh, God.
Because we have a lot. we have plenty. So remember what I said a few minutes ago about when you're going to cut, you want to cut across the grain. Shh, Jojo, shh. And this is funny. What we cut a little while ago, Brent and I were kind of like scrapping for the scraps of it.
I mean, when you eat the fat chunks, it's
even
good.
That tastes good. Yes,
it's good.
So I'm pretty proud of this. Hi, Bladen.
It's worth the heart attack, honestly. I'm sorry.
Actually, that was grass-fed beef. Thank you very much. No heart attack there.
It's still gonna give you diabetes.
No, it's not. This stuff is good. All right, so we're gonna have a little taste right here.
Hey.
Na-na-na.
Oh, I see how it is.
That's such pretty colors, though.
It's a beautiful color.
Honestly.
Here you go, man. You get this for
Thanks,
All
buddy.
right, you can have a nibble. There you go.
Thanks,
you.
guy.
Now, if you watch the first part of the video, or if I've managed to get them combined or not, I do have a video on how to make the brine for homemade corned beef, and I talk about sodium nitrite, which is the pickling salt or curing salt that gives corned beef its distinctive pink color. So as Brent was saying, it is a beautiful color. And then we have these veggies that were cooked in the cooking liquid from the corned beef, so they will have picked up all of that flavor. And we did not overcook, we did not overcook the cabbage.
I call this plate.
So it still has some body and some crunch to it, which is always nice. All right, I'm gonna make that pretty right there.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing I have 2 pots of corned beef.
It really is.
I think we're gonna need it. All right, guys.
Brent could probably eat one on his own.
I think
This
Rick
is
could eat
so
one on his own.
exciting. This is so exciting.
All right, boys and girls, here we go. Homemade corned beef and cabbage, all the way from making your own pickling spice to the finished product. And I will tell you, it's really not that difficult. It takes a little bit of thought and some time and a little bit of planning, but other than that, it's just a matter of waiting. And I'm getting all my bites called. It really is delicious. So if you've liked this, please hit a like or a thumbs up and hit subscribe. Thank you.
Yes.
Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. The cookbooks are in the Amazon store. You can find them under Jan Charles.
Fancy.
And as always, thank you for watching. So, Aaron, go Brian, y'all.